What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the What the Fun Show. My name is Mike, and today we are reviewing Halloween Ends. This will be a complete spoiler review of the final film in the David Gordon Green trilogy. And with me, as always, is my friend, my co-host, Justin. How you doing today, Justin?
Doing good. This is going to be completely spoiler-free, as I heard, which means there's going to be no spoiler warning, which means I don't need this mask anymore because he's dead. All right.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yes, this is going to be a complete spoiler review of the movie. So stay tuned for all of those. But first, we have all the spooky season stuff up and running on our YouTube and our podcasting feeds. So make sure you go check those out. We have our reviews of the original Halloween, Halloween 2018, and Halloween Kills, as well as Hocus Pocus stuff. And we have some special podcasts coming out next week with a friend of the show about her first experience watching the whole Halloween franchise. So stay tuned for that as well. And if you are listening to us on a podcatcher of choice, please leave us a review. We would really appreciate it. Apple Podcasts specifically is the best. Go ahead and let us know how we're doing in a review, as well as leave a star rating. If you're on Spotify, you could leave us a star rating on mobile only. And if you're on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, like the video, and let us know down below in the comments what you thought of Halloween Ends. And we also have our Rings of Power review. Complete full season is out. Our reviews of each and every episode. And we do have a special podcast coming out with friend of the show, Sharif Jackson, to review and discuss the entirety of season 1 of Rings of Power. So check that out. Halloween Ends, Justin. This is
the best movie ever.
A very divisive movie, that is for sure, specifically in the Halloween community. So I'm actually going to put our spoiler warning right away. We're not going to do a spoiler-free review. So we're going to dive into it really deep in the thick of it. So I'm going to give you your spoiler warning right now. Hey, you.
What's that? What the?
What are you doing?
Who, me?
Do you want to be spoiled? No? Well then.
Stop it. Get some help.
So you don't feel like this guy. Instead, let it be a surprise.
Oh, I like surprises.
So go watch the thing before you move on in the podcast, okay?
Alrighty then.
All right, that was your official spoiler warning. So be warned, if you have not seen Halloween Ends, go subscribe to Peacock for $5 for a month or get to the theaters and watch the movie. So Justin, before we get into sort of the, deep dive plot devices and stuff like that, let me just get your overall feelings about Halloween Ends.
Depression. Lots of depression. We are horror movie buffs. We enjoy a good slasher. We enjoy a story that either is good or bad, that tells the story of one of our favorite nostalgic fan club killers. And this did not sit right with me. I was very disappointed. I know you guys, viewers, fans, have gotten our little after the movie reveal of what we thought. I've rewatched it. Mike has as well. It did not sit well with me the second viewing either. I just didn't like it. I'm very disheveled about how they did this movie, and I'm more depressed about it because I really wanted something great. And there are a few redeeming qualities, very few, but the negative just outweighs it too much for me. I can't deal with it.
Can't deal with it at all? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Ready for mine?
Go
Listeners, I've been holding him on a string because I have told him that it is a better movie on my rewatch. I have told him all these things, but I have not told him like really what my true feelings are about the movie. And so, Justin, I'm looking you right in the eyes. I like Halloween Ends. I like the movie. I actually like it quite a bit. I think that the characters are really good. I think that the characters are well acted. I think that the story actually hits in a lot of ways. I think that it is a decent plot. As far as Halloween movies go, it's very interesting. It's unique. It's different from what we have, known throughout the years. And I think that this is John Carpenter's and Cody Carpenter's best score. I think the atmosphere of this movie hits all the right spots. And I think that Jamie Lee Curtis is probably the best she has ever been at Laurie Strode. But this movie has no right, no place, no fit in this current trilogy. So although I believe that it is a decent movie, it's also a bad movie because it does not fit with the precedent that they have set within this trilogy. Doesn't fit. They shouldn't have done a 4-year time jump. The story plot devices are very thin. In fact, there are some story plot devices that you have to go all the way back to the original to understand perfectly. It doesn't fit with what they set Michael Myers up as. They did Michael Myers dirty in this movie. And I don't think that they should have went this route with the movie entirely. So, looking at it objectively, I do think that it is an okay movie. But in this continuity of Halloween, it's bad because it does not fit well. The plot, the story doesn't work with what they've already established. So, I think Justin can kind of do a sigh of relief because I was kind of hinting and giving him nuggets that like, oh yeah, I think it's the best Halloween movie and stuff like that. And it's not true. It's not true, Justin. What did you think of my rating there?
My head started smoking. I'm trying to really understand your view and have an open mind, which is something you said. Even with that, like I said, there are redeeming qualities, but for the continuity of the first original and then 2018 kills and then ends, this was a bad movie. The worst
No,
of
and
the
I
bunch,
and I agree with
for
you.
sure.
And I agree with you.
And I feel like when I said that first night that they did Michael dirty, that holds ground 100%. I feel like this was not what we came to view. It was kind of a bait and switch in my mind. The trailers were all about the final fight, which, yes, was in the film and probably was one of the best parts of the film, the last 15 minutes. But the entirety of this film was new character development, brand new, and just not a horror film, in my opinion. It was.
I disagree. I think it was a horror movie.
I just don't see it. Yet, sure, there was some killing. Sure, there was some bullying. But just the acting choices, the story driven elements that they tried to implicate here just didn't hit well with me as a Halloween film. If this was a spooky season Halloween film without Michael Myers, I think it would have done a good job. I think it was good for that element. But to put it together in this continuity, it just felt out of place, and especially out of place as a finale.
And that's the context that I really want you specifically as well as listeners to understand my point of view. Like I think that this is actually a cool, slightly unique story with Michael Myers in it. I really do. And they tried to, go along with Halloween 3 and really make this sort of like an anthology movie of like Halloween, like what Halloween 3 was originally designed for with John Carpenter. And his thoughts on it. But ultimately, like, it just doesn't work with this current set of movies. To go from Halloween Kills, right? Halloween Kills, Michael Myers is arguably in his prime, if you want to put it that way. Like at the end of the movie, he wins. He is the apex predator. He's at the height of his powers. And even Laurie Strode at the end of the movie says that the more he kills, the more he transcends, the more he becomes more powerful. And to do this 4-year time jump and to not have him in that same state, it just doesn't work. Although I think it's very unique to bring in some of the supernatural aspects, and we could touch on that in a little bit of how Michael, or how evil rather, works within this continuity. It just didn't work as far as, here's Michael at his height of his powers, and then you're just going to make him a hobbling hermit who's down a hole, who's in a sewer, and who can't really take on anybody right now. So yeah, like, that's the context that I want you, and you, Justin, and the listeners to understand, is that, like, apart from this, like, if this was not in this continuity, I actually think it's a really good Halloween movie. But
Okay.
in this continuity, it's not good. It doesn't fit. It doesn't work.
Especially as a finale. I feel like
Especially
to,
as a finale.
to
Agreed.
see him in his prime, like I said, in Kills, and then see him just the solo killer, obviously. The person who should be feared, that's causing this chaos, that's causing all this drama and craziness that's happening in the town of Haddonfield, to be disheveled in a way that he's living in a sewer and needs assistance to get 2 kills.
Yeah.
Honestly, spoiler wise, Michael Myers does 1 kill in this film, 1 kill by himself, without any
Unassisted.
assistance,
Yep.
unassisted, and everything else is with assistance.
Well, 2. After rewatch, he technically does kill Corey at the end.
Corey is an assisted
But
suicide.
Corey, well, yeah, but still, like, the argument would be that, Corey has this some sort of evil in him that he could, like, recharge and stuff, just like Michael. That would probably be the argument. And so
The
he wakes
supernatural
up.
sense is that when
Yeah.
Corey stared into his eyes in the sewer the first time, when Michael let him go, he saw something in
Yeah.
him and gave him some of his evil when you stare into his eyes, like Loomis used to say.
Yeah.
And then when he stared into his eyes later on to kill him or to choke him out after he tried to commit suicide, he was taking that evil back. And that was the only thing that was
which is a
keeping Corey
problem.
alive.
Which is what the problem is with the continuity, is that they look at that eyes thing, right? That and maybe you could just argue that, Corey saw the evil within Michael's eyes, and then his evil started. Regardless of how you argue what the supernatural thing is that you have to, in order to understand what's going on in this movie, you have to connect the dots to something that Loomis said all the way in 1978.
Yep.
Like, you have, and that's, for Halloween fans specifically, that's easy. For people who have watched this trilogy, this New Age trilogy that David Gordon Green, Danny McBride did, there's no precedent for that. They have not established that that's what's going to be a story thread throughout. And I think one of your big things there that you said, Justin, and what I agree with, is that this doesn't work as a finale.
Mhm.
It doesn't work as a finale. Like, I was thinking of different ways that it could have changed. I think, like, let's spitball this bit for a second.
Killing Corey right at the beginning and not letting him go was the first flaw.
No, I disagree. And hear my argument on this. I think that Michael should have done the same thing. And here's how I would have made it a good finale, in my opinion. He should have done the same thing. He should have let Corey go. And he should have allowed Corey to continue feeding him kills.
But see,
And
even
then-
with
and
that,
then
that's
just wait.
making Michael seem weak and feeling that
No,
he
it's
needs
not.
that.
It's not though. It's not though, because Michael is still in control, right? Michael is sort of, telling Corey to bring me these kills. And then eventually he gets strong enough, and then he just kills Corey. And then he's the one that goes on the killing rampage that Corey does in the movie.
The problem
I think
is
that could have worked.
all of the through lines with the people that Corey killed were revenge kills. Michael doesn't have that sense of motive. In this same sense, if Corey was sitting there feeding Michael kills to power him up, pretty much, Corey wouldn't have a reason to do that, other than you can go kill the people that have been mean to me. But Michael doesn't do that in this continuity, so that would be flawed.
But that's the thing, though, is that Michael is the puppet master in this theory. Corey is the puppet. Michael is saying, hey, you need to bring me kills. And here's where the revenge plot comes in that you bring up. He starts bringing those people specifically. I don't think I think it would have worked if like they established something where Corey's not fully out of control of his motives and body. Like he knows what he's doing. So he starts bringing specific people to Michael to kill, and it does work in a way when he brings Allison's former police.
Yeah, but see, those are things that Corey thought of that on the fly. He was losing the fight, and he needed to get away and bring him somewhere that he would be in danger. Corey's boyfriend, or not Corey's boyfriend, Allison's old boyfriend. At this time, I feel like if that was the plot, the one that you are saying. If that was the plot and Corey was just bringing kills and had to bring the people that he wanted killed, I feel like that would change this entire movie into how can I trick this person into coming to get killed by Michael instead of Michael randomly killing and just prowling the neighborhood and creating chaos. It would change the whole story of Michael, and that's terrible in my opinion.
Well, no, I disagree, because then the whole like middle to third act would be those random killings. Michael is finally strong enough, right? And so Michael just kills Corey off, and then he goes and does his own thing, right? And he continues to wreak havoc in Haddonfield. And then you could bring in the Strodes. You could bring in them, hey, they know Michael is back and fight. Now, I understand you're skeptical about that theory, but you can't deny that wouldn't work better than what we got. As far as a finale,
there's a lot of stuff that would work better, in my opinion. I feel like going back to the what we got with ends, the fact that Michael was weak and he got a kill, and then he was teaming up with Corey pretty much to kill other people throughout this film. I felt like the fact that they showed him at this weak state after coming out of kills made his character weak as a whole, and which means towards the end, when we finally got that final face-off, he wasn't at his prime. And it doesn't hit as hard because Corey didn't fight the pure evil Michael at his full force at the end of this movie. Laurie's not Corey. Laurie didn't. And I feel like that's why I was so upset, is because they made him look weak and they made his character weak. And when that fight happened, he wasn't what he was supposed to be from kills, what they were setting up him to be. They made him a partner in crime, instead of the sole crime killer.
Ultimately, like, I don't mind it in the sense, but again, it doesn't fit within the continuity. Like, at the end of Halloween Kills, I do believe that they should have kept the original ending that they thought they were going to, which is Laurie leaves the hospital. And the trilogy is all within this one night, Halloween night to November 1st. I think that would have worked a lot better.
I know before when Kills ended and they started filming and story writing for Ends, that's when COVID hit. It was going to be something that was like the same night or the night after. It was going to be a very good continuity story, and they had to change it due to COVID. And unfortunately, not to blame COVID for another terrible movie or a terrible experience, it's possible that's what it was.
Yeah, and just the 4-year time jump just doesn't. It just really makes it so convoluted.
Yeah.
And the fact, we've already talked about it, but having Corey Cunningham as the main focus, pretty much, of this movie. Laurie's obviously a main focus. Allison is. Michael eventually becomes a main focus, but it's that word eventually. It's like, how come Michael is not the focus of his finale? And you ultimately did bring it up. Like, this is a lesson that we just can't trust trailers anymore. We can't trust the marketing.
It's a bait and switch.
We can't, I mean, this is not the ending that we were supposed to be getting. And okay, let's talk about the themes, right? The theme is clear. Haddonfield has this sort of sense of evil, and you don't need Michael Myers, and that's what they're saying in this movie. You don't need Michael Myers to really prove that evil exists, and evil will always exist. Um, but
This
at
isn't
the
the
end of the
story of
day,
Corey. This is the story of Michael Myers.
well, that's the thing, and that's what I was getting at here is that ultimately, yeah, I see people say that this is the story of Haddonfield. This is a social commentary on Haddonfield and what evil can do to people. But here's the problem. You can have those themes when Michael Myers is your centric villain.
Mm-hmm.
You can. And to say that you can't and to try to write a movie that you can't, why do they think that the main focus of the original Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills can't bring a good finale? They ultimately wrote a poor representation of what the character of Michael Myers is to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they definitely set it up well. Kills had its gripes. 18 was near perfect. They definitely set it up for success, and then they kind of dropped the ball. Unfortunately, I do think that I see what I've also read that the first 2018 was about how Michael can affect one person and make them go crazy, and then Kills was the community as a whole going crazy, and then this one was affect one person with evil in them and left unchecked. Uh, I could see the different ways that Michael affects people, but Michael needs to be the through line throughout that. You don't
Yeah.
need that 45, 50-minute relationship bonding with a brand new character that you should have, if you wanted to tell that story, bring them in 2018. Hint at them. Bring them in Kills.
Yeah.
But not just drop them on us from the initial drop of the show, of this movie.
Yeah.
And then expect us to care about this character. Sure, horrible things happen to him, accidents happen. We are going to care about that. But as a character, we need time to develop that character and not in a finale. That's not the point that you want to
Yeah.
introduce someone new. This is about wrapping up loose ends, not adding more.
I'll push back a little bit. I think Corey's character developed enough where I'm okay with where it sits. Um, but yeah, I mean, ultimately, you are correct in saying that this movie could have worked a lot better. Like, let's even say that this was the middle of the trilogy, and then you get Halloween Kills. Like, if you like, I think it ultimately could have worked. It could have worked as the first one to come back. Maybe Michael didn't get caught for those 40 years and is actually in prison or whatnot. Maybe he does. Maybe he is hiding out and doing these pickings here and there, like this movie suggests, and then he comes back in full force because he's killed enough people after receiving 6 shots from Dr. Loomis in the chest. But like, it is not a fitting end to what this trilogy really established with who Michael is. Michael is a person. He's a predator that when he kills, he gets stronger and stronger. They've established that, and instead they decide to bring in this new character. Not to mention a new character that's going to overpower Michael to just get his mask and try to become Michael Myers.
The wrestling match in the
Like,
sewers. Are you kidding me?
So you've hinted at it. Let's talk about some of the good stuff here.
Yeah. So
there
obviously
is
Laurie.
good stuff.
Laurie is good
Yeah.
through most of it. There are some points that I'm like, okay, we don't need to see the romance. We don't need to see that you are a sole survivor. We don't need to see the Deputy Hawkins and you memoir relationship status. But for the most part, she was pretty well off in this film. They definitely didn't exclude her like in Kills. They put her in the limelight, and they definitely showed how she's trying to adapt after everything. And they did a good job with it. I think her acting, her script was great. She did a great job acting even in the finale part at the end. I feel like she did good. She didn't have any weird one-liners like Happy Halloween. She really did a good job, and I definitely want to
Yeah.
shout her out. It's her final film. She's put it in writing. She's done after this, and I feel like she did do a good job. Unfortunately,
Speaking
the
speaking of
story
that
surrounding her
happy
again was just bleh.
Speaking of that Happy Halloween line, I think that this might be probably the best written movie as far as like dialogue and character growth and
Hmm.
development. The story itself just doesn't hit.
Yeah.
Um, so, I mean, you don't have any Evil Dies Tonight. You don't have any Happy Halloweens. Like it is a well written movie as far as the script,
You
not
did
the
get a
story.
not dead enough from her stepdaughter, but
I
that
didn't mind that. I didn't mind that.
yeah.
But okay, so Laurie's good. Do you have any other goods? I know you really don't like this movie.
I was okay with Corey's character until he decided I'm going to take revenge kills, because that's not the evil that Michael is. Even if with the supernatural sense and what they were trying to sell, he got that evil from Michael from looking into his eyes, and then he began to become superhuman. Obviously, jumping off roofs, getting hit, healing, infecting, healing. They wanted to really show that evil was starting to transfer into him, which I'm okay with for a supernatural sense. I just don't like that evil caused him to revenge kill instead of wildly kill,
Yeah.
because Michael has always been in this continuity a random killer, a stalker,
Mhm.
someone that just goes after. He's not hunting Laurie. He's not hunting anyone in specific. That evil is just evil to be evil. It's darkness that is from within that he is carrying out through murder. And I feel like taking that and putting in Corey and making it a revenge plot, I didn't like. I didn't like it. But his acting, fine, sure. He did a good job.
Yeah. No, I actually like the character of Corey Cunningham. I don't like his story and what ultimately it does to Michael.
Hmm.
Um, I actually do like the relationship between him and Allison. Sort of this like I mean the way that they made the story seem it really seemed like Allison was going to become evil too, and just like they were going to be like the Bonnie and Clyde,
Hmm.
of of this movie, and I actually didn't mind that.
No, Allison's actually the
Spe-
third wheel in that situation.
yeah, um, sure. Speaking of Corey though, I thought after rewatch the junkyard scene was top notch.
Yes,
I
that was probably
I
the
thought it
best,
was
one of the best kill scenes in the entire movie. I think, where
I
Corey
think
finally took up the mantle and kind of was Michael Myers, even though it was
yeah.
revenge. The kills were all very esque of Michael Myers, even the set pieces, the way that he was
Yeah.
standing, animation wise, disappearing behind someone,
I
creepy.
loved it.
Yeah,
I freaking loved the junkyard scene. It was so good. The way
we're
that
talking
he
about the one with the
walks.
murders, not the one with riding a bike with Allison
Oh
or
yeah, yeah, that
fixing the
yeah.
tire on a car.
Yeah, talking
Yeah.
when Corey truly takes the mask and becomes,
Yes.
quote unquote Michael or evil rather.
Hmm.
Um, you know, the junkyard scene's so good. I think that the effects that they did with him disappearing behind his stepdad or his dad, I don't know which
Hmm.
one it is. You know the the blurred killing, excuse me, the blurred killing of him putting the torch down that guy's mouth. Awesome.
The
Just
stepfather.
it was just a really creepy scene, and it just worked. It was good horror film vibes. Even when he goes over to the radio tower, that works for me too. That radio tower kill was probably the best kill in the movie. I would argue. It was pretty gruesome. He cuts his tongue, and then it's on the record player, and it's skipping over the tongue.
Yeah,
um,
definitely a memorable kill, for sure. Very gruesome, but well done. Uh, I believe the secretary was a legacy actress as well. I'm not sure
I don't
who,
think she
but
was a legacy actress. I think she was just a famous person.
somebody that was
Um,
in. I'm pretty sure she was in a Halloween movie. I'm gonna have to look it up. Uh, Continue. Though I'll look it up while you talk.
yeah, no problem. I'm also scrolling through. Um, yeah, it's just yeah, the plot is just it's just messy, right? But there are some good things in it. I think um yeah, obviously the fight between Laurie and Michael at the end was really really good too. I enjoyed it, but ultimately it felt tacked on. It just felt like, oh, we've already established this marketing where this is going to be their final fight, and one of them is going to have to die, or both of them is going to have to die. So we're just going to tack this onto the end of this story, because this is really Corey Cunningham's movie. It's not Michael's movie, and that also hurts. But ultimately, like, really cool action at the end. I like Michael splitting his hand through that knife that Laurie has pinned him down to choke her again. I like Laurie coming out of that room there, the pantry or whatever that she was in, with that fire extinguisher. Like, it worked for me. It was good ending as far as the fight, not a good ending as far as, what the movie as a whole was.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, overall it still worked for me. Any other goods before? I mean, I'll just really quickly mention again, the soundtrack is John Carpenter. This might be my favorite work of his. James Jude Courtney is still great as the Shape. I think Corey did a really good job under the mask. I think that obviously some of the kills that we've already mentioned, but the atmosphere of it, like, it was really, it really drew you into the Halloween feel. And yeah,
Yeah, it definitely felt like
there
a
was
Halloween
some
film.
good there. Yeah,
Yeah, it definitely did. I do want to play nods to seeing the one guy with the sheriff hat, Sheriff Barker, I think his name is.
Okay. Yeah.
He was in the finale, as well as the little boy who ran away in the 2018 movie as
Yeah.
well. He made an appearance finally, and we got the older lady that got the glass that we were talking about, the terrible neck blood bag
Oh,
from
yeah.
Kills. She's still
Yep.
alive, and she was in this as well.
Yeah.
Lots of little, like, Easter eggs for people who have watched the continuity as of such.
Yeah.
Well done. Definitely put you in the role of atmospherically a Halloween movie. Just the story didn't, and that's kind of the
Yeah.
sad part. But let's get into the
Hmm.
next section of our talk here.
Yeah. I just kind of wanted to end with, well, not end, but let's finally finish off our final gripes, and then we'll go into the end. So, final gripes that we have not mentioned. Go ahead, Justin.
Final gripes that we have not mentioned.
Have not mentioned.
Let's talk about the expectation as a viewer. We haven't really touched on that. So coming into this, obviously, if you're a fan, you've watched Kills and you know the high points and some of the low points of it, but you were hopefully on the same page as we were. It was overall Michael's best performance in this new continuity, besides the original, for Killing. So coming out of that, thinking that this is going to be higher on that scale, you're going to be sadly disappointed. Story-wise, not very good. You've got the effectiveness of the kills and the gruesomeness of the kills throughout sprinkled, kind of like, just like, here they are. Obviously that opening sequence with Corey's backstory had our jaws on the floor. It looked crazy. It was insane. But then it just didn't hold that same weight throughout the entire film.
The jaws on the floor was a little on the nose.
Yeah, it's like, you want to have that throughout the entire movie. I've seen so many good movies recently, and they had my jaw on the floor the entire film. And I just feel like this didn't hold that same weight, unfortunately. And I wish it did, because Michael deserves that, especially as this finale film. So the expectation, don't put it very high. All right?
Yeah.
Go in it, watch it for what it is, and have an open mind.
I think that's really the key, is to watch it for what it is, because I think it's actually decent, but in this continuity, it just does not work. All right, a couple more gripes for mine, and then I have one last question before we move to our ratings. Kyle Richards as Lindsay Wallace is grossly underused in this movie. She's a fantastic actress, and she's behind a bar serving drinks for most of this movie and handing a tarot card over to Andy or Andy Madge as the
Yeah.
actress, Allison.
Yeah.
So she should have been a little bit more prominent, in my opinion, throughout the movie. And my final gripe, Corey, I understand that you're in this position where you've been sort of framed or sort of put as the character that, you know, Haddonfield hates at this point because Michael's gone. He's been gone for 4 years. So we're gonna hate Corey Cunningham. And Corey, you probably don't want to do things you know, to get you in the sight of, you know, police or anything. But my guy, those are marching band geeks. Like, why are you getting bullied by marching band dudes? Like, you are 21 years old, the same age that Michael was in 1978, and Michael was murdering people. Like, I know you eventually start to murder people, Corey, but like, there's no immersion level at all. Like, there's no precedent to say that marching band people are bullying a 21-year-old. Like,
I'm pretty
just
sure I
don't get
mentioned
it.
that in the theater as well when it happened. I was like,
You-
wait,
you
they're
may have.
marching. Yeah, I said they were marching band guys.
You may have, but still.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from there.
Okay. So, Justin, this was the end. This was the end of Halloween.
Sadly,
Sadly, my question for you is, where does Halloween go from here? Obviously, there is the obvious. There is the obvious that they sort of framed this finale as this like sort of anthology film in a Halloween franchise. So maybe they go the anthology route and they just make Halloween stories that Michael Myers is not included in. But Justin, Michael Myers is dead. He's dead.
Yep.
As far as this continuity is concerned, where do you think
Well,
this franchise goes from here?
sadly, I'm going to have to disagree with you there. Because one of the last things that Laurie says while writing her memoir before walking outside and making the romancy scene with, what's his face? She says that evil isn't killed. It only changes shape. So in this sense, that was their open ending book that they had. From going from this, hopefully it's better, but I would go with a reboot, if anything. If not a reboot, completely different story. Come up with something new, have Michael as the lead, bring him back. Halloween is always going to be synonymous for having Michael in it. If you make an anthology with all kinds of other stories, it's going to set expectations a little different. Halloween should be set with Michael Myers as the killer. Solely the killer. The only one needed because he's the one that holds all that weight. The shape deserves that. So don't even have Laurie in it. Have new babysitters, whatever. Make a brand new storyline and start it from scratch. I'm fine with it. I'm sure you would be too. Rob Zombie tried to do it, flopped a little bit towards the end, but at least he tried something. And I think the first one has redeemable qualities. So I feel like if someone were to get that mantle, they would learn from the mistakes and hopefully do better.
Yeah. So ultimately, I'm very satisfied with Halloween. Obviously, the original, it's a masterpiece. I'm very satisfied with Halloween 2018, and I'm even satisfied with Halloween Kills. I'm not satisfied with this ending. But Michael is dead. I think he is dead in this continuity. He's gone. He's gonzo. So if we do want Michael Myers as our central character, which I would love because I love Michael Myers as far as a horror film slasher. I've heard some people suggest, and I kind of want to see it. I want to see period pieces, and I want a new continuity started, and the next movie is based in Halloween 1979. Still keeps the original movie as its first in the continuity, just like this did. But there is a direct sequel to it again, and it goes through sort of, it does period pieces and kind of goes through maybe the 80s or something like that, where Michael is still he has take what they did here. He's taking some time to heal because he was shot 6 times in the chest by Dr. Loomis, and bring him back right away in that continuity, starting at the original movie. So
The problem with that is Laurie would still be around, most likely, and she's done. The actress is done. Jamie
well,
Lee
no,
Curtis.
like I mean, but you got to think about it. Jamie Lee Curtis is done, but this is a period piece. Jamie Lee Curtis wouldn't be Laurie Strode wouldn't be as old as Jamie Lee Curtis is now, so they can't do it. If they do bring back Laurie Strode, it would have to be a different actress. But I would say get rid of Laurie Strode. She was your final girl from Halloween 1978. Get a new cast of characters. Get a new final girl protagonist to take on Michael the next year, and kind of continue that anthology type feel. Michael being the centric character, but have different characters that he's demolishing each year. That's maybe my take. I think
agree.
It could work.
I agree with you completely. Now you'll probably have to quack me out of this because it's deserving. If you do that and you have a new cast of characters and you have Michael, the full-fledged fighter that he is, the killer that he is during that time period, don't make him look like a huge, bitch.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I don't think that they will. I don't think that they would. I mean,
we didn't think they would with this one.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, I mean, Michael is such a staple in slasher movies. Like, I don't want him to just be blacklisted, right? I want to see him come back. And we'll see how they do it. I mean, Halloween 2018 obviously showed that Michael is box office. He's a big box office slasher. And even Halloween Kills, and probably this movie got a lot of money. So Michael is going to be
doubled.
Yeah, I mean, Michael's going to need to come back, and I really hope he does. I don't think it's going to be quick. I mean, it was 10 years since Halloween 2 Rob Zombie to Halloween 2018. So I think we're done with Michael for a while. So I'll just rewatch the original and Halloween 2018. So
I do want to say,
and some of the original continuity, of course.
Hard cut here. I think the story within the separate universe of Halloween 1 and 2 Rob Zombie was better than the ending of this continuity.
Hard disagree.
Sorry.
Hard disagree.
I think that it was just better story writing.
I don't agree with that. As far as a trilogy is concerned, like, yeah, this is a rough ending, but I still think that despite the gripes, it works better than Halloween 2 did for Rob Zombie. It doesn't work good. It doesn't work good. It works better. So anyway, go ahead with your ranking. Halloween Ends 1 through 5. I'm assuming it's a 1.
0 an option.
No.
I wouldn't give it a 0. I would give it a 1. 1 is fair for this movie. Sadly disappointed. Hopefully they do better in the future. Give us some time to reflect and hopefully forget about this. That's what Rob Zombie did. So give us some time to forget and hopefully come back swinging the correct way. 2018, box office. You know it's possible. Do it. Come on now. But this one gets a 1. Now. And that's the end of my review. A 1. Well deserved.
Well deserved. So I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna give you 2 ratings. I think outside of this context, I think it is a 2. Maybe even going to a 3 outside of the context of the trilogy. I really do like this movie. In the context of the trilogy and what they've already established, it is a 1. It is a bad movie. They done did my guy Mike dirty. They done did it.
At least you get like sequels and stuff. I don't even get one. I got one Nightmare on Elm Street, and they won't bring them back again.
Yeah, I mean, they will. It's got to happen sometime. It's got to happen. But yeah, let us know what you thought of Halloween Ends. Certainly very divisive. There's a lot of people who actually enjoy the direction, and there's us who just don't see it fitting within this new trilogy. So let us know what you think down below, and we'll hopefully get to interact with you guys. And that's it for our Halloween trilogy review, along with the original Halloween. We do have a special, like I said, a very special episode with a friend of the show, Shanine Thompson, next week that's coming out. She literally just watched all of the Halloween franchise for the first time. And so me and her have a discussion about all that and what she thinks about the franchise. So stay tuned for that podcast. It was a blast. It was one of the more fun podcasts I've ever recorded. So take a listen to that. And then we're also getting some other stuff out. Rings of Power, Test Your Might. Yeah, just stay tuned to the feeds. It's all going to be fun. This has been What Fun Show. Follow us at What the Fun Pod on Twitter and Facebook. You can hit us up over there and connect with us there. Yeah, Michael's gone. Justin's punching Michael's in the face. He's dead. Halloween sure has ended. For Justin, my name's Mike. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Dun, 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 dun. Beep.